Taken King DLC. All right, so if you have no context for this, again, we talked about it last week. There's a link I want to give you guys. And look, I'm gonna say that you should read the article before reading the update. Okay, so you're gonna see the update at the top. Read the article first before reading the update, and you guys will get some context for what we're about to discuss. So last week, Colin kind of went on a bit of a rant about the Taken King and the DLC. The DLC itself is $40 if basically you have all the content for the game. You want to buy Taken King DLC, you can get it for $39.99. Obviously, there's not a whole lot of information that's out about what exactly is all in the Taken King, but some of the things that we know as of right now is there's 3 new subclasses, a new raid, some new weapons. You can basically assume there's some new weapons, and they've said there's some new strikes. Haven't specified what it is, particular some new enemies, a new destination, and that's about it. Now, there's also another pricing for. It's technically supposed to be for new players, but
it's a bit weird.
It's weird because there's content in there that is basically exclusive to people that pay this price. So the price of that is $79.99. Basically includes all of the previous content, the collector's edition, so you get some cool stuff. You get new emotes, new shit and emblems.
Emotes is an emphasis because they have emphasis because they haven't released emotes for the game at all, right? Like,
At all.
As far as I know, that's the only emote, right? So that gets extra emphasis is that this is the first time they've released that type of content, and the only way to get it is to purchase a full game plus the DLCs.
Plus the DLCs.
In an $80 package.
Right.
Or £80, which leads to a interesting little side thing.
The pricing for this was already something that was controversial, and I think there were some Reddit discussions and obviously some posts on the forums. And for the most part, I think it was falling on deaf ears, tone deaf ears. But generally, again, and Colin mentioned this last week, the general perception is that as a loyal fan of the game, I've spent money on the DLC. I've already purchased the game. I want the new emotes. Why are you making me pay $80 for new emotes and not offering me anything else except the Taken King? But you're having this couple things that I would really enjoy as a player, but you want me to spend $80 for it. I can't justify it. So let me complain about that. So this was again magnified to great lengths by this interview with Luke Smith, who was formerly of 1UP, was then the community manager at Bungie for a period of time, and then he became the creative director. Now, Colin pointed out on that he has been involved in some other incidents in the public where he's kind of responding to community members, and the guy seems like he's kind of
brash.
Yes, brash and a little like he will combative, confront you, and it doesn't really seem like he's the type to back down or handle, I would say, community in a way that that you would expect.
Certainly,
he's a lot more controversial.
Not publicly, he's not a PR guy. He isn't going to be the politically correct person when speaking either.
Right.
In the past, he's kind of shown that tendency as well.
So, just kind of reading a couple of his answers. Let's see. Where's a good one? Can you see that some fans are confused that you're asking them to buy stuff they already own? Luke says, yeah, I totally empathize with those people, but the collector's edition is a pretty cool package for people who want to pursue that stuff. Otherwise, surely you're saying is that you would want to buy them separately, right? And he says, well, yeah, I'd rather do that, pay a few pounds or dollars or whatever, than spend money on things I already own. And he said, Luke laughs, well, we have nothing more to talk about regarding your opportunity to spend extra money in Destiny other than the Taken King and the 3 versions we've announced. And then he says, "Is Bungie considering selling customization items such as this separately, or is this that against the studio's philosophy for the game?" Rather than comment on Bungie philosophy, here's what I'll tell you: a golf clap emote, I would spend money on that. Like when someone falls in the vault of glass, at the moment I bow when I'm trying to mess with them. So I empathize with some of the things you're saying. Now he continues to go on, and he says something along the lines of, well, first he's like talking about the price in dollars versus pounds, and he's
Which
like,
is almost
I'm
double.
going to use
Straight up, pounds to
right,
dollars, almost double.
almost double. And he's like, I'm going to use American dollars because British pounds are just foreign to me. And the Eurogamer, he says, literally. So there's this
Indeed.
whole
In
meme on
Ocean.
Reddit about it, right? So, so, um, let's see. There's a part where he says something about you're gonna throw money at it. Where is that part at?
Um,
Uh, feel
yes, yeah.
anxious,
So
exclusive.
it's down near Poke at Me. So Eurogamer was going to drop it about the emotes. So
Okay, I see
yeah,
it.
Eurogamer said final question on prices. Luke Smith interrupts him and says, "Is this also the final question on emotes? I'm not going to mention them again if I can't get them." Eurogamer said, "But you can if you buy the collector's edition." They go back and forth. So Luke says, "Okay, but first I want to poke at you on this a little bit. You're feeling anxious because you want this exclusive content that you don't know yet, but you don't know yet how much you want it. The notion of spending this money is making you anxious. I can see it." He says, "Yeah, I do want them. I would buy them. If I fired up a video right now and showed you the emotes, you would throw money at the screen," Luke Smith says.
I wish I had some ones on me. We throw them now. He would throw money at the
Which
screen.
is a bit insulting, considering the entire point was that he would want to purchase them, but there isn't an option to purchase them without dropping
$80.
$80. Or in his case, $120, because that's what the translation is for pounds, which is where the interviewer's from. Because they're doing straight up $80 versus £80 for the content.
Right. So I mean, when you read this and you look at some of his answers, it just seems like not he's not getting it right. Like it's not coming across. Maybe he didn't want to do the interview. Who knows what it is? Maybe I don't. Who knows the the dialogue that's going on between these two? But it as something like I had a hard time reading this and being like, wow, like this is what was really said. Like, does he not realize how that comes across? And then I go on to Reddit, and Reddit is an absolute shit show right now. If you guys have checked the Destiny Reddit, it is crazy how bad it comes across in terms of how the community seems like they've reacted to what Lucas said. And again, when we're talking about it in the conversation, I think Colin and I have a lot more jovial. Maybe his was
Yeah.
jovial too. So
It
it's
reads as
really
being really tense
it
from both
does
sides. Like
because
the way it was worded from both sides sounds like it was a very tense conversation.
he specifically says he points out that you're feeling anxious about this, right? Like so that means tonally the guy is definitely something about his face is distraught from Eurogamer or he wouldn't have had that last comment out the end. So I don't think it actually is better in conversation than what we're making it. We're just like we can't believe this shit is going on right now. So it's something for us to talk about because this is like disastrous move. I feel like in terms of PR because almost 4 hours later, this one thread was at 200 comments when I saw it, 400 comments when I saw Deej have to post an update on Bungie's site. Like, whoa, 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 guys. We're going to do a weekly update. I'm basically going to talk about this more. So, and then after the fallout from that, I saw GameSpot had an article, Verge, Forbes, all these places had articles about this guy's interview because it just again it just is like one of those things. It was like, am I actually reading this? Is this what this dude is saying? So I mean, it's definitely something that I feel like it could be like a pricing thing where maybe Activision had more of a play of it than Bungie, and then
I
they
don't
just
think
have
you
to
can say
take it.
that. I don't think you can say
Who knows? I mean, we don't actually know though. I mean, look, I don't know.
Here's the
I'm
thing,
just,
like
it could be.
if the creative director for the game hadn't gone out and been like that brash about the answers to the questions, I think maybe you could have made a case that Activision was like forcing them into that situation. But when he like goes and makes an ass of himself in an interview like if you were being forced into that situation, that wouldn't be your response, right? Like you would just kind of follow the company line and blah 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 blah. Like you wouldn't take yourself down or take your company down with it if it wasn't your decision in the first place. Like really comes off as Luke Smith is not suited to be doing his job. Certainly not suited to be talking to press. Is the takeaway from it. And like for me, it was hard to read from a like. There's a lot of people at Bungie who work really freaking hard on the game, and the tone of the entire interview seemed like a slap in the face to like everyone else that like works so hard for this product, works so hard for the expansion, and like this single-handedly undermines a lot of that work in terms of like there is a lot of work that goes towards making the community happy. Like that's the ultimate goal of a game like this.
Right.
Is like every single week it's like, hey, let's do some stuff that's going to make people happy. Let's make some stuff that looks cool, and so on and so forth. And they're like to just like slap. I don't know. It's really weird.
You're gonna throw your money at the screen, Colin.
Yeah, I'm just gonna throw my money. Sorry,
just toss some dollar bills.
I've been throwing my money since launch. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in the Reddit was the one just telling me because I've talked in the past about how Bungie fans and Destiny fans are like super apologetic for any kind of mistakes that Bungie makes. Like they'll accept it, right? Like I think in general, like everyone's really goes back for Bungie and says, nah, like as you said, a lot of people were like, oh man, every time they do pricing decisions, that's just Activision. You know, that's just Activision forcing their hand because Activision's a big evil company. Bungie would never do anything like that. And like that stuff, it's always kind of like in the back of your head, like, would they?
Right.
And like when you see this type of tone from someone at the company, not just someone at the company, but a creative director is someone that's like basically at the lead level for the company. He's someone that's in talks with the CEO, the president. Like he's someone that talks with other companies. He's someone who would be an ambassador to every time they're in a conversation with Activision. You know, like all of this stuff goes together. He's someone who talks with PR, someone who talks when he announced the game, like when they announce things on stage, he's there. It's like for the words come directly from his mouth that he is taking the questions from the community seriously was just weird. It was really strange. If I was a player, like I straight up gave up on Destiny for a bunch of different reasons, but one of them was lack of content, and I wasn't happy with like the stuff they had planned, stuff they were releasing. And if I was a player, I would be super like, I'm not too excited about supporting the game. That's my 2 cents.
From some of the stuff that we saw on Reddit now, there was one particular comment. Deej made a comment on Reddit that was to try to tame down. Again, they're
in damage control.
It is flaming over there on Reddit. And like one of the responses to Deej was like, look, Deej, I have supported Bungie for a very long time, and I am absolutely disgusted with, and he used Luke's. He said, I'm absolutely disgusted with Luke's response to this interview. Like I don't even have motivation to play the game right now because, you know, it's one of those things where it's like I got turned off that bad. And I had the same kind of feeling about like EA Sports and NBA when I talked about the Hoop God coming on presentation for them. Like as an African American, when I looked at how he was trying to represent their brand, and that was EA's take on how they could market to those folks, I kind of had the same thing. Like I will never buy an NBA game just because that's how you guys are valuing me as a consumer. That's what you think that I want to see is some dude acting a damn fool up on stage. It's like, that's what you guys think? So I can kind of see the same type of one-to-one relationship between, okay, this guy comes on an interview and this is how you, and like you said, this is how you value the questions that the community has about the pricing for content, where it's like, look, dude, we just want 3 emotes. Like, we just want some $80 for 3 emotes. That doesn't seem fair, right? So, you know,
the choice of content. Like, if it had been a Sparrow, I don't think anyone would have cared.
Right.
Like, there was Sparrow and a few emblems, I think, in the initial collector's bundle, which you only got if you bought collectors. If it had been something like that, I don't think they would have cared. But they knew that the emotes was a big draw, and that people would repurchase the game to get the emotes. I think that was something which is telling, especially in the eBay comment where they're like, where they're saying it's sold out. Like, so apparently you guys wanted it, you know? Like, they knew straight up that people would repurchase the game to get the emotes because there was nothing else there. So I feel like straight up, like, it was very evident they weren't going after new users. They were trying to milk the existing users as much as possible by putting the emotes in there. Like, there's no other explanation. There's no other explanation.
It's true.
Like, why would you be like, yeah, like, why would you advertise to new users that they get something that no one else in the game has? You know,
Yeah.
like it doesn't really make sense.
So, Deej has something on Thursday where, and I have to read his response exactly. I think it's part of this update, but he said something like, Year 1 players won't get the same perks as people who buy Collector's Edition, he told Forbes. They'll get something better. 2 weekly update for more.
Yeah, that's damage
Um,
control.
yeah, so he said several longer responses posted to Bungie's official forum. Deej explained that the studio was planning to discuss how existing players will be recognized, something that Luke Smith touched upon in Eurogamer's original interview below, and also revisit Bungie's thinking on the various Taken King versions. So, look, I don't know what is going to actually happen. What do you think that they could set some precedent where they've already taken money at this point because they have pre-orders? They can't change the price.
I don't know. I just think it's gonna be an
I,
emblem, and the emblem is just gonna look like this. Like, just that's all it's gonna be. It's gonna be an emblem for everyone in the game. You'll just go to your postmaster and redeem it, and you'll just forever be giving you the middle finger.
Colin, that's what you think?
That's what I think. I think that's the big announcement on Thursday.
Okay, well,
I mean,
we'll see.
I imagine that what they're gonna do is they'll whip up a couple more emotes. It's so fucking easy making emotes. I'm sorry, but from a game development standpoint, that is one of the easiest things they could crank out. They could release 100 emotes tomorrow. Super easy. Like, it's so it's such an easy thing to do. There's no game interaction, right? Like, there's no way for
No, it's
the
not.
emote to interact with anything. It's just a mocap. Like, it's a mocap. And you take the animation data and you pop it in the game, and for the most part, it just works. You have matching skeletons already. So, like, they could easily whip up 3 emotes to give out for free in addition to the 3 that are exclusive. And that will, like, help appease people. People are still being pissy about it, and they deserve to be.
I'm trying to wonder, do you feel like, is there anything from a damage control, PR, whether it be in game, like you said, the emotes, or something else above and beyond that Bungie could do to reconcile this problem? This is persistent.
I mean, it's something they've been doing, like, really, if you look at the content, it's been since launch, in my opinion. Like, each of the DLCs, I think, hasn't lived up to the cost. The fact that they didn't have the raid in the last update was another part. I don't know, like, continually, I feel like they've been short on content in terms of what they're charging people.
Right.
It just seems like the milking is part of the business plan. Like, they know they're not getting a lot of new users. I don't think Taken King is going to bring in a lot of new users that have never played Destiny. Like, maybe it'll bring in some, but I don't think it'll bring in a lot. So I feel like they just kind of determined that this is what's going to have to happen. And they're not, it seems like they're very risk averse, and like they're not going to try a different monetization model. You know, like they won't try and find other avenues to make money.
Well,
It's
I
just
mean, they're stuck.
they're stuck on the 5 year ago plan of
It's a
like, we're gonna release a
box,
couple expansions,
the box product,
a
man.
couple DLCs. We'll do an expansion, which is really just like a big DLC, and then we'll crank out a couple more DLCs for that expansion, and then we'll do one more expansion, and then we'll do Destiny 2. That's like one big mega expansion. Like, they're locked into that. They've been locked into that since they announced. You know, when the contract details leaked out, and it was like, this is a 6-year project or 7-year project for us, supporting Destiny. They've been locked into it. And I think like a more agile company would have a better solution to the problem. But I don't know. They can't create content fast enough to support the amount of money that they want to be bringing in.
Yeah.
That's the truth of it. And this is like the most underhanded way they could have possibly gone about trying to get money out of people. Trying to get it $80 at a time.
I can't believe the pricing on it.
Ridiculous.
I can't.
Ridiculous.
Can't believe the pricing. All right, so that's all we got on Destiny. We could do some more in the Q&A. I want to hit this Gears beta. We're about halfway through the show. If you like this video, you should probably click on the one down below. That'll take you to another video. You may like it. A little bit about me. I'm a former pro player. I play PC and console, mostly shooters. I also have a gaming podcast. I do tips and tactics, live gameplays. Check out my Twitch. Also, I work in the industry. Why are you not subscribed?